Stevenson, the minister of this church, and this is the way it should look on Sunday morning. Oh, well. On behalf of the congregation, I thank you for coming to support the Save the Belfry project and to have some fun. And I want to thank also Ian McQuinn, who's the owner of the Tribune Bookstore, for selling our tickets. And aren't we lucky to have a bookstore in Norway? And I thank everyone. Take a seat, please. They're late for church, too. I want to thank everyone who has given their time and talent to put on this great show. Many thanks to Mike Coolidge for lending us the sound system and being here to run it. He's a trooper. And many thanks to the singers, dancers, and musicians, many of whom make a living performing. We thank them all for giving us this night of amazing entertainment. And we thank you all. Half of them are back there, and some are back there. Thank you all. So before the merriment begins, Joan Beal, the chair of the Save the Belfry project, will take just a moment to tell you how we're doing on the project.
Yes, I'm Joan Beal. Thanks for being here, for these great local performers, and for helping us out on this. And thanks to the committee who helped organize this fair. Tom Coolidge is somewhere over there, Nate Town, and Erica Jebb. So thanks to you. It's been a long time coming, and worth waiting for. I'm also supposed to tell you that when it's time to leave, there actually is a ramp out back, if that makes things easier for people to get out. Those are steep stairs down there, and there's a ramp in there. I know you're all here for the music, the dance, and the festivities, but since we briefly have you with us, we want to give you a little idea about why we do all of this. We're here today on the land of Wabanaki people, whose land grew the very trees that are holding these walls up. The church is old enough that many of these timbers would have been growing when Wabanaki people hunted and walked through their land. They would have been cut in this area by settlers who moved in after many of the local tribes had been driven north. It is part of all of our history that we continue to struggle with and look for ways to reconcile. Many of the woodmen and framers who built this building lie in the earth not far from here. The materials and the labor that built this church are all rooted here in this land. If you were a time traveler from 1830, dropped today on Norway's Main Street, much would seem unfamiliar and strange despite Norway's historic credentials. Streets have changed, buildings have burned, have been moved, torn down, rebuilt. However, for almost 2 centuries, this building and this belfry have been a touchstone, reminding people, here I am in Norway, Maine. For you, the 1830s visitor, this would be the clearest landmark that said, oh yes, now I know where I am. This bell rang out for fires, for curfews, to celebrate the end of World War I, the Civil War, the Second World War, and many local historic moments. Some of you probably have parents or grandparents, or maybe even yourself, who heard this bell celebrating the ringing when they were married. Not every historic building can be saved, and Norway will continue to process the process of change, but we believe in the importance of the story that this building has, this bell and this belfry. To those of us who are members of the church, religion is really about making the world a better and more just place for everyone. So we have a lot of work to do. But we also have this building to care for and cherish. So we appreciate your being here today and supporting us in getting this belfry back up and preserving this piece of Main Street. It's a large and expensive project, but still we persist. And thank you for this extra push. At the intermission, please have a look at the drawings and the plans which are in the back, laid out in the back near the refreshments. We also invite you to check out the dome reconstruction in the backyard if you're very hardy and you want to wade through the snow. And if you have questions, Ed Summers, who is somewhere here way in the back there, who is working with preservation timber framing on this project, can answer questions about construction, timber framing, building preservation, and what needs to be done. There are also envelopes and cards in your seats if you're moved by the performers or the space or the comradeship to make an additional contribution or pledge. Many, many thanks, and let the wild rumpus speak.
Well, I didn't go to school to be an MC, so I'm going to invoke the spirit of Bess Klain. Many of you remember Bess Klain, who was the church choir director here, and for this musical presentation to help me along with my duties. I'd like to welcome everyone here. The First Universalist Church thanks you for joining our efforts to restore the church belfry. As you can see, we need to pretty up the interior here, but first we have to take care of our structural repairs. We may not be the Grand Ole Opry or even the Norway Opera House, but we are in one of the oldest buildings on Main Street, Milton, 1828. Since then, we have hosted town meetings, plays, art exhibits, lectures, and many talented performers. Our performers tonight are making it possible for all of us to have a good time while helping us to shore up this old meeting house. So the action plan is in place, and now it's running full steam. Speaking of full steam, we have a lineup here tonight that will relieve our cabin fever and carry us along in celebration of the coming spring. So let's jump on board by introducing our first act. Our first act is the Siren Trio. Singer, songwriter Kristen Short, Rusty Wiltjer, pottery, and Tom Coolidge are performing original folk, rock, and classic covers. Siren Trio.
You never look away to see beyond There's nothing you can do to change the past. Take a breath and remember you're alive. If you had done things differently, friends, we'd never have a chance to be. Listen to your heart inside and leave your regret behind. Your dreams are a heartbeat away. No, they can't. No, they can't. No, they can't take that away. It isn't easy when it all falls down. There's too many things to blame. But hold on, never let go. Beyond the shadow of pain lies an open door. Come inside and leave the past behind. Life is full of new beginnings. And no, they can't, no, they can't, no, they can't take that away. No, they can't, no, they can't, no, they can't take that away. I started out as a poet when I was really little. Co-wrote my first song with my sister in 1990 and have been writing ever since. One of my songs were all three originals today, are kind of like having folks read your diary. So I'm very honored. Thank you for the warm reception. And our next one is called Second Chance. Word is out, we're back in town. Been a long time since we've been around. Taking new directions like a feather on the wind. Here we are together, starting again. And it's like writing a new beginning to the story of our lives. Stop talking what you could have, should have done. Take a look at just how far we've come. Build a future on the best of the past. And take a second chance. Now we have a second chance. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Funny how the places we at what you could have, should have done. Take a look at just how far we've come. Build a future on the best of the past. Take a second chance. Now we have a second chance. Thank you so much for Rusty, Wiltjer, and Tom Coolidge for performing with me today. One more song for you. This one's called Shine. Got a phone call the other day, a friend got a little low, wondering how he got this way and where the years have flown. His dreams lay lost, but living alone in the dust of time.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you, Mike. Have a Mike. Well, she took up the, all right. As we wait for each act to get set, I'd like to briefly share a little information about some of our other historic Norway buildings and personalities. Since this is Women's History Month, and I'm a historian, I was reminded of an article the Boston Globe ran in 1907, complete with pictures, entitled "Businesswomen of Norway." Described as, quote, a village in Maine where a woman performs the marriage ceremony, heals the sick, and buries the dead, a motherly-looking cashier at the National Bank, member of the weaker sex, edits the newspaper, practices law, runs stores, and acts as insurance agents. And it goes on to say, and in every walk and bypath of business life, there the women are in the front rank. None of them are old, only some are younger than others, and they are respected and held in esteem by the citizens of the town, and rightfully, for they have overcome difficulties and triumphed in their chosen callings through their own individual efforts. So later we'll spend a minute naming each woman and her business between the acts, but right now let's keep the show moving. We are now privileged to present. Sorry, Elizabeth. We are now privileged to present our second act, a plucky performer who has figured out how to maneuver an instrument up to the stage almost as easily as she would a harmonica. Let me introduce Elizabeth Ross, harpist, who has been part... That's all right, my name's Shearman, not Sherman, so Roth. Sorry, Elizabeth.
I'm over it.
Elizabeth Roth, I can't read my own typing. Elizabeth Ross, harpist, has been part of the area music community for over 35 years. She can frequently be seen singing and playing one of her harps at local open mics. She has played many wedding ceremonies, concerts, fairs, private functions, and dining rooms throughout Maine, New England, and beyond. Elizabeth Roth provides a broad selection of popular folk, seafaring, country, and instrumental selections. Thank you, Elizabeth Roth.
I feel like that was kind of a hard act to follow, by the way. She was lovely. Okay, so this song was, somebody said this to me once, and this song was written by Paul Stuckey, and I'm sure he wrote it for Pete Seeger, but that's not who said it's not that kind of music to me once. It was someone else. So do we have sound? Let's make sure we have some sound. Oh, we do. This is my new child, so she's electric. It's not that kind of music, he said with a smile. It's more about the message and less about the style. Then he played a chord and each of us would try to learn a part. He brought us all together It was a lesson in harmony, and he'd make that joyful sound. It was a song about spirits reaching for that higher ground. Sometimes he played his six-string songs from other lands. Sometimes it was the 12-string or just the sound of clapping hands. But there always was that moment kind of hard to understand when the music became bigger than the man. It was a song about justice, saying, won't you take a stand? It was a song about a song to sing all over this land. Now it's not the kind of music I can still hear him say, though the 12 strings in the case now waiting for a brighter day. I remember when it only took one voice and one guitar to bring the world together, to bring the world together, to bring the world together, singing music from the heart. So I'm a little nervous right now because I'm going to take a big risk. And I didn't expect to have quite so many people I know sitting out there. So that's I'm like, oh no. And there's some people that have heard me talk about this harp thing for a long time, and I know have never actually heard me play. That being said, I'm going to do what I consider to be the musical equivalent of serving a new recipe to guests. Hang on, let me figure this out here for a second. What I'm doing here is changing key. I get to do it manually on the harp, but guitarists and pianists, it all just happens on their instrument, but I have to actually physically change key. So the reason I call this the musical equivalent of serving a new recipe to guests is because I've been telling my friends, I've been working on some new music, and so far no one's ever heard it, not even, I've played it all alone in my living room for a while. And I'm going to get really brave and take a risk and play a new song that I've never played in front of people before. So hopefully I won't have a meltdown, embarrass myself, and completely mangle this. So thank you for your patience and your kind, and thank you for your patience and your good thoughts before I even start. kill it too hard, but you knew what it was. Thank you. Okay, so now I frequently, I kind of do rainbow songs, and I often play Over the Rainbow, but tonight I'm going to do my other rainbow song, because any song that was made famous by a frog has to be really a good song. And I think that tonight, to me, this was about, dreaming and about dreams come true. And I think the Rainbow Connection is about dreams come true. Well, let me make sure I got all of these little foolish letters right. And here we go. And thank you very much for having me tonight. I'm just so delighted to be here. I'm truly delighted. Thank you for asking me. Thank you.
Visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have
first woman I'll mention is, who was mentioned in the article, is Dr. Annette Bennett. Now, she was born in Buckfield in 1858, and after receiving her academic education in Maine, she entered a homeopathic medical school in Chicago, where she graduated with honors. She settled in Norway, where she practiced her profession with much success for many years. She took a great interest in temperance matters and was one of the leaders of the Women's Christian Temperance Union, a national organization whose Norway chapter was organized in 1898. Well, that's another story. Dr. Bennett was also one of the prime movers for the establishment of the Norway Home for Aged Ladies. Has anybody ever heard of that one before? It was established in 1903, lasted until 1905. They referred to the ladies as inmates when they had all the rules that I read today about what they should do, and I thought, maybe that wasn't conducive to making you want to stick around. I don't know. But in the 1950s, this building became the original structure of Stevens Memorial Hospital. And it was finally raised when the hospital expanded. By 1907, when this article was written, Dr. Bennett had a large and growing practice, and the Boston Globe reports that she had been the town physician for the past 4 years. So there are no aged ladies in our next act as we introduce the Bauer Dance Group. This group of dancers includes longtime collaborators, Emily Delamater, Erin Hamlin, Kimberly Hamlin, Joanna Paterson, and Magili. I didn't pronounce it right. Magili. I even made a diagram for myself. I couldn't read it. Magili, CHapman, Quinn. Look for their upcoming show planned for this fall. Thank you very much.
You said we should look out further. I guess it wouldn't hurt us. We don't have to be around all these coffee shops. saving $23 a week. We drive to a house in Preston. We see police arresting a man with his hand in a bag. How's that for first impressions? This place seems depressing. It's a California bungalow in a cul-de-sac. It's got a lovely garden, a garage for 2 cars to park in, or a lot of room for storage if you've just got one. And it's going pretty cheap, you say? Well, it's the deceased estate. Aren't the pressed metal ceilings great? Then I see the handrail in the shower, a collection of those canisters for coffee, tea, and flour, and a photo of a young man in a van in Vietnam. And I can't think of floorboards anymore, whether the front room faces south or north. And I wonder what she bought it for.
Mrs. F.W. Sanborn. Those were the days, right, ladies? Laura was a New Hampshire native, and she and her husband, Fred, came to Norway in 1882 from Meredith, New Hampshire. Not yet in their 30s, they soon took over publication of the Advertiser, the newspaper, which was long housed in the building just across and down the street on the corner of Pike Hill and Main Street. The paper had changed hands many times since its beginning in 1844, and even been used by the patrons of husbandry, more commonly known as the Grange. But when the Sanborns took charge, the newspaper thrived, right along with the growing community. The Globe article had this to say in 1907. Mrs. F.W. Sanborn is the editor of the local paper, and practically all of the work of editing the weekly issue falls upon her shoulder. According to the Norway history published in 1924, Mr. Sanborn, with the assistance of his very able wife, established on a firm basis the Norway Advertiser, and it is one of the best local newspaper plants in New England. Continues on, his wife, Laura A. Sanborn, is as able as he is. She is an excellent writer and can do anything about the office that Mr. Sanborn or anyone else can do, which is pretty high praise for those days. And now let's welcome another dynamic duo to our stage. I'm sure Laura would like this type of music, right? Mary and Steve Hargreaves. They have been playing acoustic music together for decades, and both stem from musical families and have been influenced by many blues, country, folk, and rock legends. Together, they offer a blend of down-home folk songs on guitar and banjolele. Mary and Steve Hargreaves.
We're going to start off with a little Tin Pan Alley song written by Herbert Lawson in 1921. Got a banjolele or banjo uke. And so what better way to start off? Song from 1921.
You're feeling lonely anytime. You're feeling blue anytime. You feel downhearted that's the time I'll come back home to you.
By the way, the first recording of that song in 1924 was recorded on ukulele. This next song is one of Steve's favorites, written by John Sebastian.
Nashville cats, they clean as country water. Nashville cats, they wild as Mountain Dew. Nashville cats, they play since they're babies. Nashville cats, can't work before they're due. Well, there's 1,352 guitar pickers from Nashville. They can rip almost any romance from Tennessee and Hill. And it's custom-made, so be a guitar picker in Nashville. And any one that packs his guitar and plays twice as better than I was just 13, you might say I was a musical proverbial guy. When I heard a couple sound of the tunes, and it blasted me sky high. And every record man said, the yellows on the records from Nashville, and up north nobody buys them. I said, but I know. Nashville cats, they clean as country water. Nashville cats, wild as Mountain Dew. Nashville cats, been playing since they're babies. Nashville cats, they work before they're two. Well, there's 16,821 brothers in Nashville. All friends playing music if they ain't uptight. If one of the kids will, because it's custom-made for every mother's son to be a guitar picker in Nashville. And sure am glad I had a chance to say a word about the music and my brothers in Nashville. Nashville cats, clean as country water. Nashville cats, they wild as Mountain Dew. Nashville cats, they play since they're babies. Nashville cats, they work before they do. Oh, the cat.
Well, if you play a banjo, then you've got to play Pete Seeger. So for our last song, we chose a sing-along. We hope you all will join in. I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a belfry, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between Well, I got a hammer, and I got a bell, and I got a song to sing all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the song of love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Oh, it's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's the song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land. Thank you. We really did have a great time and really appreciate being invited.
Thank you very much. We can't wait to ring that bell again. In fact, when I joined this church, I told them that, this was about 15 years ago, I said, I'd really like to join the church, but only if I can ring the bell. And they said, well, whatever it takes. So the day I joined the church, we had a little service ceremony, and it was wonderful. And I sat down and I waited and I waited. Well, you know anything about Unitarian Universalists, we just kind of go with the flow, right? Finally, at the end of the service, I kind of raised my hand and said, thought I got to ring the bell. Oh, yeah, go ahead, ring the bell. So I rang the bell, and I can't wait. I hope I get to be the first one to ring it again when it's done. Back to our 1907 article, we quote, many of the weaker sex have conducted business in Norway, while the two hotels, the Beals and the Elm, that are the pride of the village and the equal to any of the larger towns and cities of the state, owe their popularity and prosperity to the wives of the landlords, Mr. John Woodman and Colonel W.W. Whitmarsh. Again, not mentioned by name. So their names were Elizabeth Woodman and Martha Whitmarsh. Let's hear it. This hotel was located on the corner of Coolidge Street opposite the current Key Savings Bank. And it came into the possession of Ezra Beale about 1842. During the last year of his life, Mr. Beale made additions to the place and fitted it up for a first-class modern public house, which was opened in 1871, with his son, General George Lafayette Beale, as landlord. Now, Ezra, who was also the architect of this church, died in December of 1871 that year, and it seems that George kept it only a year before he got a better job and moved out of town. But it then had many proprietors, and John Woodman bought it, and his wife Elizabeth was a very capable business manager. Now, the Elm Hotel was located where Fair Share Co-op is today. Purchased in 1866 by young Captain W.W. Whitmarsh of the 1st, 10th, and 29th Maine Regiment. That's another story. He soon married Martha Blake, and the two are credited with the success of their 40-year run as hotel managers. So our next act, Expansion Arts, works together, just as the husband and wife teams running the hotels, and they work as a non-competitive dance studio. They're located in South Paris, and let's see if I can get their names right. We have Julia Graham, Maren Pinkham, Faith Waterman, and HopeWaterman. Did I get it? Hey, thank you. many of us have heard of Vivian Milner Akers and seen his paintings. If not, you can visit the Norway Library and look up and see the two paintings, or the Norway Historical Society. But not much is ever related about his mother, Effie Milner Akers. She is lauded in this article as Mrs. Charles S. Akers for her job as assistant postmaster. Now, the post office was established in Norway in 1800, and the historian Charles Whitman tells us that it had some very good postmasters and some very poor ones, selected for political and charitable reasons. I was interested in that because one of my great-grandfathers was a postmaster in Buckfield. I wonder how he got there. But the government is best appreciated, according to Whitman, through its mail service, and the most capable, efficient, and pleasant disposition persons should always be selected for the important positions of postmasters and mail carriers. And he goes on, the most efficient and popular postmistresses and clerks the author has known are Isa T. Howe, Emily McLean, Abby Gibson, Helen Swan, and Effie Akers. And now for the wildly popular OHUG, as they are called, the Oxford Hills Ukulele Group. And OHUG is a laid-back gathering of friends who enjoy playing music together. It's open to beginners who have never held a uke, as well as more experienced players. There is no cost to join and no dues. All you will need is a ukulele and a clip-on tuner. Remember, uke can change the world.
Yes, this is about half of OHUG. And I have to point out that we normally play for the residents of nursing homes, so this is a little bit intimidating to be here with 5 musicians and dancers. But we do this to have fun, so we're going to have fun. We invite you to sing along with our 3 songs. If you could turn the lights on back there, please, so people can see the words that were handed out with their program. This is the first song. We think that most people will know the other 2. So please sing along with us. Good.
and we'll be right back for the second half.
Give it a roll.